Hello, everyone. Welcome to Scandalous Sunday Story Time. I'm Cam.
And I'm Dr. Liv, and we are ready to jump into all things kinky today.
Yes, we're talking kink, we're talking trust, we're talking communication. All three are needed in order to get into a little kinky situation with your partner.
It's so true. I think that's what we talk a lot about with 50 Shades of Grey. So
Yeah.
if you listen to a few of our episodes, you know we've got mixed feelings about 50 Shades of Grey because communication is such a huge part of it. And we always say consent is sexy, right?
Consent is very sexy. I think we say that every episode. So yeah, we want to talk about it because I think like you said, 50 Shades of Grey. At least the first movie or the first book was about consent. Say what you want about it, but at least he was trying to get consent in order for her to do whatever he wanted. So I do appreciate that part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is I think a lot of people, when they think about kink or, specifically like BDSM, you get into, if you're not really well read up on it, it can seem very like non-consensual a little bit, or just, like this dom sub thing where you've got, the typical like straight female fantasy of being like taken over, right?
Being submissive.
Yeah. But there's a huge amount of trust and communication within that process that I think a lot of people miss when they're just inspired by movies like 50 Shades of Grey or romance novels and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of, stories about it. There's a lot of books about, BDSM and being submissive. But I think, the biggest part that's always missing is the trust part, the communication part, the setting your boundaries part. There's not a lot of that. There's a lot of like the guy just doing whatever he wants pretty much. And there's no communication about it, which I think one big thing that, you don't talk about with BDSM is that there's a lot of triggers involved that if you don't navigate, then it's,
Yeah.
it won't go right.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is like if you're reading a book or watching a movie, it's a fantasy, right? And the thing about fantasies is they can tell a lot about you. They can, even going into kind of core desires of what you're desiring in life. But fantasies are just fantasies. In real life, there's a lot of communication that has to happen to make that feel safe and pleasurable and all that good stuff.
Right. Because it's like it depends on the person too. I think, if you just generally trust your partner, then you could be led into it. But if you don't, or if you don't know that person, there needs to be some communication. There needs to be you need to talk about it first. Mm-hmm. And, there's always like a lot of great articles about communicating with your partner, your fantasies, your sexual fantasies. I definitely, before talking about this, we looked up a couple articles, one from the Metro, UK, like how to tell someone you're dating that you're interested in kink, right? So just starting off that conversation is always really awkward, but you have to talk, you have to say something.
Yeah.
Especially if you want it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, if you have a hard time talking to your partner about wanting to do kink or, especially going into BDSM, then you're probably not ready to go into that because you have to be able to tell your partner, like, that, like the code words, right? Like red, green, yellow. There's a reason there's like an entire traffic light of code words within all of this language.
Right. And then also it's just, even if it's bringing in something small, you still have to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just like show up and then somebody has a toy, or show up and somebody is like bringing like some crazy shit out. Like even if it's something, even starting small, there still needs to be a conversation about it. I know personally for me, like I just want to know how I'm going to feel. Like, how am I supposed to feel if, you know, using this item or doing this thing? Like, am I going to like it? I think that's what most people are concerned about too. Am I going to like this, or is it going to like just be completely uncomfortable?
Yeah. Well, and I think that like having that communication and talking about it and creating that comfortable setting is really important. I mean, I had a previous partner who kind of sprung a bunch of kinky stuff up on me. And I remember just being like feeling so awkward and just, I don't know, there's like a mindset shift I think that you need to get into it. And it kind of took me away from it or turned me off from any of that for a couple of years because the surprise attack was not the right method, because you have to kind of wrap your head around it and feel safe and feel like, you know, you can say yes or no or green light, red light, you know, all of that good stuff. Because yeah, I mean, it does get into a little bit of a like weird, awkward territory, right?
Yeah, I mean, and again, going back to triggers, what would be triggering and what would not be triggering? Like if somebody were to call me a slave or something in the bedroom, that would trigger me, right? Because of who I am as a person. So that wouldn't be okay with me. So even just like testing out nicknames, doing like that, like you have to know people's boundaries. And the only way to know if somebody's boundary is to discuss it.
Yeah, nothing quite like being called the wrong like triggering thing to just like totally like dry you up.
I know, to like completely ruin the mood and just be like, not even want to finish, just be like, just I don't even know, probably just get up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Sex is a very mental game, right? Like it's very, very mental, especially for women. And so you do have to be careful about, because you don't want to all of a sudden get you into your head and out of your body, and now all you're doing is your brain is on overdrive and you're not enjoying any of it. And that's the big thing with kink, is really being able to get into the moment, get into your body and truly enjoy it.
Yeah, do you think that even getting into like, you know, BDSM or just anything more kinkier, does that change your sex life forever? Like, I think that's also another, like, is that going to change me, like, in my preferences sexually?
That's a good question. I think it opens up your world, right? You learn more about yourself and you get to know who you are and what you like and what you don't like. But I think that a lot of that changes too in the phase of life you're in, and even with your partner. There's some partners that being, you know, doing kinky things gets you really excited, and then there might be another partner in life that is not so much, you know. And I mean, we've talked about this before, but a lot of our sexual fantasies come up from like our core desires or things that we're currently needing in life. So, you know, if you're having fantasies of being like a submissive, it might be this feeling like you need to be taken care of. But then there might be a different phase in life where you're feeling like more like you're needing more control. So you're being more kind of on the dominant side. So I think it just opens yourself up to learning more about yourself, right?
A whole new world. That sounds
Yeah.
I like that. I like that reference. So yeah, it opens up your world a little bit more. I hope that sounds good. I'm not a terrible singer, so
That was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
I mean, I feel like, you know, that was even a fear. Like, it's just like, am I gonna just want this all the time? Like, am I gonna want this one thing all the time? Or
I mean,
does it?
you might, if it's something that just like gets you really excited and turns you on. But it may also be, you know, as you get to know new things, right? New things are exciting and thrilling. And then at some point it does kind of wear off a little bit unless you spice it back up again. So it just might be that it's a new and exciting thing, or it might really just be like the thing that fully turns you on. And
Right.
yeah.
I think also we talked about, you know, shaming and kink shame and vanilla shaming. And I think also that goes into the communication, because, if you're not into, doing kinky stuff, like that's okay. But I think that's also why you need to talk to somebody, because somebody might not be into what you're into.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too, is like sometimes you do, even within the same relationship, right? Like there shouldn't be any shame either way. Like there are sometimes when you want to just keep it vanilla. Sometimes you want to get kinky, or just in general, you might just like more vanilla sex. And yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with either. But it is kind of interesting how like this is like our society today, right? Like you get shamed for wanting to be kinky, but then you also get shamed for wanting to be vanilla. So really there's like, you're gonna like, somebody's gonna find something to shame you about anyways. So just do your own thing and do what actually makes you happy, right?
Yeah, but I wonder, like, in today's society with men, or, any kind of partner with, like porn and everything like that, and everything being just so hardcore, like in a relationship, what would you get shamed more for? Would you get shamed more for being vanilla, or would you get shamed for more being like a kinky or a freak or whatever, have whatever name you want to put to it? Because I feel like more vanilla, you get shamed more if you are more on the vanilla side, don't want anything, just, don't bring anything into the bedroom other than, just like you and sex. Like,
Yeah, I would agree. I think vanilla shaming is probably a little bit more, especially in like long-term relationships. I think there's a lot of messaging out there that's like, you got to spice everything up and you got to do this and you got to do that. Like if you're both happy, I mean, that's the thing, is like if you and your partner are happy in your relationship and you're having fun, it doesn't really matter what you are or are not doing within that.
yeah, well, yeah, you always say sex should be fun.
It should. Man, I think we just like take everything so seriously, especially sex. Like it's supposed to be fun. And there's moments like if you're like going through IVF or, like fertility stuff, that is like a different topic. But yeah, we have sex to have fun, and we make it so serious and intense, and it's not supposed to be. It's like a purely pleasurable activity, and
Mhm.
somehow made it this like serious thing. So let's bring play back into sex.
Yeah, just fun, laughing.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
have-
like sex is never like it is in the movies, right? Like there's weird sounds that come out of you and people fall, and like it gets awkward, right?
yeah, it's clumsy sometimes.
Like it does not look this like beautiful pretty thing that you see in the movies for most people, I think. And so why not like relax and just get to have fun with it? But I do think that like trust and communication comes in with that, right?
Mhm.
Because if you're with a new partner and you kind of feel awkward, you're not quite at this like communication thing, I feel like then it becomes a little bit more, it gets easy to become serious or like in your head about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, even just like how to bring up the conversation of what you want, or that you're like, hey, these are my preferences or my tastes. Because when everything is all good in the beginning, it's just everything's, you don't really talk about anything, right? But yeah, when you're in a longer relationship, it's like, okay, well, I actually really do like doing these things, or I like when you do this
Yeah.
type conversations that have to happen, or you'll just be unsatisfied the whole time too.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't have unsatisfying sex. Life is too short for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's where if you're not with a partner, and this is probably a pretty strong bias here, but if you're not with a partner who you can't talk about what you want with, or you don't feel comfortable, like there's probably deeper things going on within that relationship.
Right.
Because especially, obviously if you're like on the like in the first couple months of dating, you're still getting to know each other, still getting comfortable. But if you're in a long-term relationship and you're having a hard time being like, hey, I really am curious about this, because you're afraid of being shut down or shamed for it, then there's deeper things going on in that relationship, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, if you can't say anything or but also always see like a lot of like I read a lot of Reddit and I always see like a lot of posts about, people who kind of talk about their sexual preferences or what they want and like their partner gets really scared about it and it's just like either shocked or surprised or, uncomfortable and they're just trying to figure out a way to navigate that too if you have a partner who's uncomfortable with a toy or something and
Yeah. Yeah, well, especially toys. I think like vibrators have this reputation of um
replacing something.
replacing. Yeah, exactly. And so I've had that come up with a few of my clients actually, where they were with partners who freaked out because they thought that they were being replaced or didn't take to feedback really well. And that ended up being more of kind of like a self-esteem issue on the partner side. And so having that conversation and being able to be really honest about and making it positive and about yourself always, right? Like you don't want to go to your partner and be like, well, you're not really like hitting the spot, so I'm gonna like use this toy. Not gonna be received quite as well, right?
Right.
But I think if you come back to it as being like, ooh, I heard, like I read this article and they said it really likes makes things very interesting or exciting or adds like another layer to it or just like making it fun and playful and being like, hey, I'm curious about this. I think that makes it tends to be better received.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Got to feed the ego a
Well,
little bit, especially for a man, I think.
yeah, I mean, sex is so tied to our self-esteem, right? I mean, it's a lot of the work that I do is that um or that pelvic bowl area is your root and sacral chakras, which is the foundation of our who we are, our power, our sense of self, and our ego. And so you make sex around that, and it is a we take things very personally when it comes to sex.
Yeah, I mean, just even with, your body and feeling insecure and, and any kind of even anything you say in the bedroom can be, if it's construed, it could be very like triggering. Like it could be very just not good and ruin the whole situation, even if you didn't mean something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that goes back to that, like the triggers that you were talking about earlier with kink and everything, is that it does bring up those subconscious layers that were really good in society at just like stuffing down. That's
Hmm.
where I always call the pelvic floor the junk drawer of many women, because it is like where we just shove all of our fears and everything into and then ignore it. And then sex does open it up. So if you're not communicating well, then it, those triggers do like to pop up during sex.
Any way to kind of let that go or know what your triggers are other than pushing boundaries, do you think?
You know, there's definitely within that safe partnered sex where there's communication and getting to play with your edges is really helpful. But then I think really just even coming into your own solo pleasure practice too, because I find for a lot of my clients, one of the first things I tend to give them is a solo pleasure practice and just getting to know your own body. And that starts to bring up a lot of those triggers because just even touching yourself for a lot of women, even we even use just like the vibrator, right? They kind of detach from that. And
Hmm.
that tends to starts to bring up a lot of triggers in a little bit of a safer format because you're in like a safe container, you're by yourself, you can kind of process through. The goal is to get to know yourself better, so it's a little bit less intense than if you're just if the triggers show up while you're trying to have partnered sex.
Right. So get to know yourself, ladies.
Yeah. That's I mean, there's a reason that my entire work comes through, like I call it the pussy portal, because it really is a portal to yourself. Get to know your pussy, get to know yourself.
I love that. That's a good. We need to make a shirt of that.
We need to just make an entire like Etsy shop of shorts.
I know, because I feel like we have we have so many good sayings that we're like consent is sexy. What is it? What was it that you just said? Exactly.
Get to know your pussy, get to know
Get to know
yourself.
yourself. Yes, that needs to be a whole shirt.
My favorite sweatshirt right now, my friend Rachel Overvole made it with one of her friends, but it says pleasure is power, which I love. I'm like, yes, it is. The pussy portal is, and pleasure is the way to power.
Pussy portal mugs. We can do it. We can do it all. I think that would work. Do you want to do a speed round?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So consent is sexy. Get to know your pussy. Get to know yourself. That's the sayings of the day. And now we are doing a speed round, and we are doing where can I find it? Oh, we're doing sayings. So the little sexy, dirty talk style, sexy sayings. What we think is sexy, what we don't think is sexy.
Yeah.
We have a whole list.
So we both found a few, and we're gonna bounce back and forth and throw them out at each other and see what the other person thinks.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Yeah. You're so sexy. I love it when you're naked.
The best. I think even I mean, like, it's good. I mean, even if you don't feel like that, or you're not, you don't feel like your body is like the best, somebody telling you that does make you feel like a little bit good. I mean, like, sometimes I probably wouldn't take it too seriously because I'd be like, I know what I look like, but like, so it does make you feel good that somebody's complimenting you.
Yeah. We all like to hear that we look good to our partners, right?
Mm-hmm. Mine is you are mine.
Ooh, I feel like that depends on context. It can get creepy in the wrong setting.
Yeah. I got it from the 50 Shades of Grey thing. And I don't like I don't like the way he uses it, right? Because it's possessive.
Yeah, there's definitely, in that scenario, for sure, gets into kind of creepy, possessive manner. So
Mhm.
there's definitely a difference between like BDSM play that, like, again, consent is sexy, but you belong to yourself kind of.
Right.
Yeah. Bite me.
Yeah. And like, if you like to be bitten, also don't bite me too hard. That's also the thing. So, and then also if you have to know your partner in this one too, communication, because like if you get bitten too hard and you have a bruise, like, no, I don't like being hurt. Maybe nipped. Nip me.
Doesn't have quite as much power though.
No. No, but I mean, like, it feels better, I think, than somebody biting you.
Just take like a chunk out of you.
Okay, I like this one, and I feel like I don't say it enough. I've been looking forward to sitting on your face all day.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That sounds like I feel like that's like a good like foreplay text right there. Like,
I wish I said this way more often and meant it.
I feel like that one though does get into a little bit of like self-esteem stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that can be a little bit triggering depending on how you're kind of feeling about yourself that day.
That's true. I mean, like if you're feeling very dominating,
yeah,
that day.
Yeah. Good old classic harder.
Yep, all about it. All about the clear direction.
That's the thing about communication is it doesn't have to be a big grandiose thing. Like sometimes the clear, direct communication works the best, especially in sex.
Yep.
Harder, faster, like keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. I am going to break and barbecue your ribs. Yeah. If you don't know, that was Army Hammer, quote for quote, like Army Hammer said that to a woman.
Oh man, that's gone like I just like saw a news thing about him that like that whole thing has gone
Yeah.
way bad.
Way beyond anything. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, again, not shaming anybody for what they like, but that would not do it for me.
No, me neither.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, another one. Another one, clear direction.
I feel like
like
with all of the clear direction ones, I'm like, just keep it quick and easy over here.
Clear direction. I like that. Yeah, is letting you know. I like that. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That was so good. I feel like I should pay you.
That is a hard no, unless you're doing role play, you know. But that is a hard no for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, unless you're like, playing the prostitute, don't say that to somebody.
Yeah,
that it's up there with that and like high-fiving someone after sex, I think, too.
Again, like no shame if you and your partner like this stuff, go for it. But coming back to communication is necessary. That could be a pretty strong trigger right there.
Yeah.
So make sure you're communicating and you're in a place where that would be a bad way to end a sexual encounter if you communicated that one very well.
Exactly. All right, last one.
Oh, you got one. Okay. Hit me.
Oh no, I thought you had it. Bite me. Yours is bite me.
We already did. Remember, nip me.
Oh, what did it? Oh, maybe we're done. We don't have any more sayings.
I totally went out of order on you on that one. Sorry.
You did. Oh my gosh. All right. So much for planning.
It's spicy in our relationship here.
I know, right? Well, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed our trust, communication, and kink episode. Like we said, consider sexy.
Yeah. Let us know if there's any other dirty sex talk that you want to throw out at us, and we'll see you next Sunday.
All right. See ya. Keep it spicy, everyone.